Hi, I'm Fran Lucken. I'm Chief Creative Officer of Grey Africa.
Hi, my name is Karabo Songo, and I'm the founder of Olive Communications and Media Group.
Hi, I'm John Davenport. I'm an ECD at Island Davenport.
Hi, I'm Debbie Danheiser. I'm Head of Broadcast at Ogilvy Johannesburg.
Hi, my name is Olisa Jeshana. I'm the Executive Creative Director at Joe Public.
Nobody ever told me I couldn't do anything, actually. It was clear I wasn't going to be an engineer or a maths professor because I wasn't very good at maths, but I wasn't that interested in it either. And when I did start showing an interest in it, I did well at it. But I was always that kid. I was like, if I didn't like maths, I wasn't going to work very hard at it.
I was always told I couldn't be a presenter because that's what I wanted to be when I was growing up. And that was my introduction to media.
Fortunately, developed a sense of humor at some stage, around about 5 or 6. So it kind of helped because I was able to, I don't know, life's a lot easier when you can laugh at yourself. I always figure you should laugh at yourself because everyone else is, so.
The one thing I was always told I couldn't do was maths, and they were right.
I was too overactive. I think that, over and above academically, I was quite active in terms of sports, but because of my physique, I couldn't exactly pursue sports, but I was quite passionate, especially swimming.
Growing up, my parents moved around a lot, so I went to many different schools. I think I went to about 10 different schools. So I was always the new kid trying to fit in, which was hard and was often a challenge because it was different schools on different continents, different countries. But what is funny is how that teaches you to connect with people, different kinds of people in different situations. So I think like many of the things that are hard for you teach you things that you need to know and valuable skills.
The one thing I was told I couldn't do was to come home late.
I hated school as a child. I hated going to school. I never worked at school. I just felt it was the bane of my life. And only when I started working did it was amazing. I worked like such long hours, so hard, because it was rewarding at the end of the day.
But it's interesting, I think I told myself that there was quite a lot that I couldn't do. When one comes from our kind of environment, and I mean back then, you were limited in terms of where you could live, where you could go, and what that does for a child is that your prospects are much smaller. And I think it was very challenging to almost break out of that, because you have this perception that the world out there is for the others, and the world for you is where you are born, where you are brought up, where you are forced to stay.
The advertising bug hit me when I moved to Johannesburg full time because I'm from Mokopane in Limpopo, and I got much closer to the industry, and meeting and understanding people from the industry and seeing that it's actually a real job with real avenues and a space to grow.
Started studying history, and I wanted to be a lecturer and an academic, and then I found that I just got too bored, that my ADHD meant that I couldn't that I couldn't study the Portuguese community of Maitland for 4 years, that I needed to do short, exciting projects, so advertising was perfect for me.
I remember when TV came to South Africa, and at the beginning there wasn't any advertising on TV. So we got TV, and it was like for 2 hours a day, and there was no advertising. And then after a couple of years, they started introducing ads on TV, and everybody hated them except me. I would sit and watch them. I'd be like fascinated, And they were terrible ads because we weren't very good at making advertising then, But I always wanted to watch. I'd be glued, and everyone else would be like, oh. And of course, it was in the days before remote control, so you'd have to get up to go and change the channel on the TV, so nobody did, so you just sat through the ads. But I used to love them. I used to always watch them. They were always fascinating for me.
The advertising bug hit me with my very first job. I was a receptionist in a small ad agency, and the energy in an ad agency is tangible. It's addictive. I loved every second of it, and I wouldn't work in any other industry.
It should be anybody who's willing to think and to think differently. Because that's essentially all this is about. It's about people that don't want to be formulaic, people who are excited by the challenge of something completely new from one day to the next. And I think everyone has the ability to do that inherently. But I think the difference between us and perhaps a lot of the other people that have chosen the other careers is that we do it for a living. We train our minds to be able to solve problems quicker. And therefore, that's why we are often called creatives. I feel that, everyone's creative, but the difference is you have an opportunity to train your mind and hone that skill.
I mean, the ideas that hit my desk every single day are just like better than the next. I just can't believe that people think the way they do. And I think people in advertising are brilliant.
The type of people that the advertising industry attracts is really people from all kinds of backgrounds. I used to think that it was only marketers who have studied the art professionally.
It attracts almost people who've tried other things and it hasn't really worked out, because I don't think kids start off going, wow, I want to be in advertising when I'm older. It's just the kind of thing you end up doing, that specific kinds of people end up doing, and it's the perfect home for those people.
If I got a script rejected, I would write 10 more. If 5 of my lines were wrong, I'd write 50 more. I completely had this attitude, which is often not easy, but I knew that I had it in me. So for me, you reject one, it's cool, I'll write more. And that's what happens so often nowadays. Like, you'll reject a young person's script and they take it so hard and da-da-da-da. And I say, listen, it's taken over 15 years for me to actually be able to write a line first time around. You're in your first year. You don't even have 12 months. So imagine how long it should be taking you. And sometimes I'll sit here 15 years later and I'll have to write lines 25 times in order to get to the right one. So I think for me, when I knew that I was made for this career was when I decided that I was made for this career. And I've never looked back since. My story about AAA is really a story about opportunity and how it doesn't always come in the form that you expect it to.
I had a lot of fun there. I learnt a lot. I wouldn't have got a job without it because I didn't know how to get into the industry. And I'd never done copywriting, so I had a degree in English, but I hadn't. So for me, it was valuable because I got into the industry. I learned about how the industry works.
I knew some of the executives at such and such at the time, and they gave me credentials of schools to go for. And AAA came out tops. I then proceeded to really allow myself to engage with the school. So I wasn't a typical student where I would arrive and just attend to school and leave. I got involved in a lot of initiatives, SRC as well. I think I was SRC president at some point, if I remember correctly.
I've never been one of those cool kids that have been able to say, I studied at AAA. So I'd like to do a course on copywriting at AAA.
The courses that they offer are incredible, and I think anybody who gets an opportunity to study there won't go wrong. It also gives them an in into agencies, and once you're in an agency, there's no looking back.
I learned how to do advertising. Before, when I went there, I was a guy with history degrees and I had no idea how to do advertising. So really, for me, it gave me an incredible bedrock, a foundation on what is an ad, how do you do them? These things that you see on the TV, how do they get made? How do the ideas come to life?
It was just a breeding ground for brilliance. I think for me, it was a point in my life where I met creative people and also I met different types of individuals.
It was just an incredible experience for me because here is something that I could never afford. And through being able to take the circumstance that I had, I was able to turn it into the circumstance that I had always dreamed of. So sometimes I think we get quite depressed at how things are, whereas if we just turn the corner, there's AAA.